The entire world of fitness seems to run on one simple promise. The harder you work, the better your results will be. But what if, for a lot of us, that's just not true? The data is starting to show a strange paradox, where putting in maximum effort can actually lead to maximum failure. This is what we call the workout paradox.
So let's just ask the question directly. Why is it that the exact same high-intensity training that gets one person shredded causes someone else to gain stubborn belly fat and just completely burn out? Well, the answer isn't about your willpower or how much effort you're putting in. It's actually hidden deep inside your own biochemistry, and it all comes down to how your body handles the stress of a workout. You know the mantra, no pain, no gain. It's the soundtrack to every high-intensity class, every CrossFit gym where people are pushing their bodies to the absolute limit. And look, for many people, this really works. But for a specific group, the result isn't a leaner body. It's a state of chronic stress. The real problem is a tiny variable in your genes that controls how your body processes the very stress you're creating.
The key player here is an enzyme called COMT. Think of it as your body's personal cleanup crew for stress. It's the system that clears out hormones like adrenaline and dopamine. How well this little enzyme works determines how quickly you can bounce back from any kind of fight or flight response, and that includes a really tough workout.
So, your COMT gene is a core part of your biological operating system, and it generally sorts people into two main types. First, you have the Worrier. These individuals have a fast COMT enzyme. They clear out stress hormones really quickly, they recover fast, and they absolutely thrive on high intensity. But then, you have the Worrier. Their COMT enzyme is slow, which means stress hormones like adrenaline just hang around in their system for way longer. This leads to a lower tolerance for stress and that feeling of anxiety after a workout.
And we're not talking about a small difference here. The Worrier type clears out adrenaline 3 to 4 times slower than the Worrier type. That is a massive biological gap that almost all generic fitness plans completely ignore. Look, this isn't just a clever analogy. It's backed by solid research. A study in the International Journal of Neuropsychopharmacology confirmed it. People with that Worrier gene show a significantly higher cortisol response when they're put under stress. Their bodies are basically sounding a much louder biochemical alarm to the exact same event. This genetic setup, it can create a really dangerous feedback loop that we call the adrenaline trap. This is the exact mechanism that turns a workout that's supposed to build you up into something biochemically destructive for anyone with that Worrier biology. Here's how the whole sequence plays out. A Worrier does an intense workout in the evening. Because their COMT enzyme is slow, their adrenaline levels stay high for hours, long after they've left the gym. This elevated adrenaline messes with their deep sleep, and when the body doesn't get good sleep, it responds by pumping out extra cortisol, the main stress hormone. Chronically high cortisol then signals the body to store energy as visceral fat, especially right around the waist. The way this feels? It's often described as being wired but tired. Your mind is just racing because of all that leftover adrenaline, so you can't get restorative sleep, even though your body is completely exhausted. You are, in effect, neurochemically overtrained. Now, here's the really tricky part. Your fitness tracker pats you on the back. It logs the heart rate, the calories, and it tells you, great workout. But it's completely blind to the real story, the neurochemical cost, those hours of elevated adrenaline, and the cortisol spike that follows. This is stress blindness, and it often tricks people into doing more of the very thing that's causing the problem. So, what's the answer? It clearly can't be a one-size-fits-all plan. The solution has to be biological. You need a system that's smart enough to see past those surface-level metrics and actually understand your unique neurochemical reality. This is where a system like METHOS comes in. It doesn't just look at one piece of the puzzle. It works by triangulating data from 3 critical layers. It uses your DNA to establish your genetic blueprint, data from your wearables to check your real-time readiness, and blood markers to measure the actual cost of your training. Put them all together, and you get a complete biological picture. Let's see how this works in the real world. A generic plan might have a HIIT session scheduled for the day, but an intelligent system sees a problem. The user not only has the slow COMT gene, but their HRV score from their wearable is low, signaling poor recovery. So the system automatically steps in and downgrades the workout to Zone 2 cardio. The adrenaline trap is avoided before it even starts. For anyone without Worrier profile, Zone 2 cardio is literally the perfect antidote. It allows you to build your aerobic base and improve your metabolic health, all without triggering that destructive adrenaline and cortisol spike. It is the right workout for their specific biology. You see, this all points to a massive shift in how we should think about fitness. The goal isn't to constantly fight against your body with just pure willpower. The real goal is to understand your unique biological operating system and then train in sync with it. The old way of doing things was all driven by ego, that need to push harder to be the most intense person in the room. The new way? It's driven by data. The logical conclusion is simple, really. You have to train according to your chemistry, not your ego.
METHOS. Your biological operating system.